The dumb great mother in her cosmic trance, exploiting for creation's joy and pain, infinity's sanction to the birth of form, accepts indomitably to execute the will to know in an inconscient world, the will to live under the reign of death, the thirst for rapture in a heart of flesh, and works through the appearance of a soul by a miraculous birth in plasma and gas, the mystery of God's covenant with the night. This is the magic he has spoken of just a sentence before. She is a warlock. A warlock is a magician, a wizard actually. Wizard who really has this knowledge. A wizard is not exactly a magician. A wizard is a person who knows this inner secret of things. So the hidden power behind things. And therefore he is wise. He knows the forces that are at work behind the surface and how to use them, how to bring them into the open. Whereas we live on the surface. We see the world with the eyes of a superficial knowledge. And she knows the possibilities that are hidden behind the surface. She brings them out of the hiding. Outer nature will resist. Naturally, that is her duty. She is inert. She is resistant. And therefore, she has to have power. She has the wisecraft. Wisdom is power. Knowledge is power. She knows how to bring the greater out of the lesser. And this is also man's story. She is the dumb great mother, the universal force in manifestation. At the lower and unconscious levels, she seems to be simply nature. Nature, the energy displayed by nature. But nature is not simply dumb. She knows. For a long time she doesn't speak. So the first forms manifesting out of the original formless energy are stones or stars or planets. They don't speak, but they have been shaped. And each thing is in its proper place and does its own cycle of movement. Every star is in its orbit. She knows exactly what to do where. So she has knowledge, but she doesn't seem to show anything more than form in the beginning. Because she is still in a state of trance. Trance, in a sense here, is as if the consciousness is withdrawn from the surface. She is quiet. She is silent. Nature is working beneath the surface, beneath the world of inertia, beneath the world of utter resistance. There is a churning, there is a movement. Slowly out of that, the world of manifestation of form takes place. You see, form comes out of energy. Energy is where the beginning of expression takes place. Matter is energy. If you destroy matter, you get energy. You destroy a bomb, you get energy. Energy is everything. Universal mechanical energy, if you look at it from when it reaches a higher level, that becomes conscious force, the divine conscious force. Otherwise, it is as if the consciousness seems to be withdrawn, it seems a mechanical energy. This is called the Apara Shakti, Apara Prakriti. She is the lower nature. She is not lower. At this stage, she seems to be, doesn't express consciousness. But if she does her work without error, she does her work flawlessly. Every atom is in its place. There is no flaw. That means when you do your work perfectly, there is consciousness. One can't work perfectly if there is no consciousness. So this nature is perfectly conscious, but her consciousness seems withdrawn behind the surface. But she's always doing magical things. Out of the play of combination of gases, she makes water, changes the very form and nature of things. Water is made of two gases, isn't it? Out of the form, play of just energy, she makes shapes, lines. So all this creative process is part of her play. If this has come about, more will certainly come out. More than this will happen step by step. So, why does she do that? Exploiting what? As if she's taking advantage of what? Infinity's sanction to the birth of form. The infinite has accepted to enter into the finite. The eternal formlessness has accepted to be, as if defined as a shape, as a line, as a form, ultimately as existent. All existence is a form first. We are all forms and shapes. We are bodies. They are made of what? Made of the infinite, the formless. So the relationship between the eternal and the infinite, the infinite and the finite, is not a relationship of opposites. If man is a being who is living in time, wearing a form, he is made out of the essence of the timeless. He is made of the eternal and the infinite. All things are eternal and infinite. Form is just a shape that is put on the world of outer nature. So we are all children of God in a way. This is why does she do that? We have to, as if breaking the silent tamas. The tamas is another word, but and the foundation, the other aspect of absolute quiet tamas is repose. It is stillness. It is repose. Out of that repose, that quietness, there is a breaking out. Breaking out, before anything is done, there has to be a moment of stillness. Moment is a relative term. It can be centuries or eons of stillness. And then a world is born. And then slowly in that world, new manifestations take place. Why? Perhaps for the delight of manifestation. Just like an artist has to be conscious, quiet, receive that inner strength, guidance, inspiration, before he projects his vision in form. So this divine creatrix, she is quiet and still, and then she projects her energy in form. This is creation's joy and pain, because working out of the world of resistance, breaking down the opposition in us when we have to break out of our weakness to go to the next further step, is something that necessarily has to have pain. Pain is something that is fundamental towards perfection, towards progress. It implies, that means we are not yet complete, we are not yet perfect. Where there is pain, it's a kind of a reminder, things are not as they should be. If your body has pain, it means it's not working the way it should. So it is a temporary intermediary stage. So that term pain, we are afraid of. But pain is a signal to tell us that the work is not yet final, it's not finished, things are imperfect still. That's why it's not working the way it should. It's a kind of an opportunity to grow, to change, to progress. So creation is constantly moving, constantly growing. And the first stage is not the final stage. It's just a world of form. to tell us that out of the world of form more has to come out. And that will be life. Form contains potential life. Energy that manifests itself in a dynamic, active manner, not just a static form. Accepts indomitably. Nothing can stop her. She continues working and has been working for millions of years to execute what? Out of the world of form, the consciousness of life, the consciousness of mind, the consciousness of light. Slowly these are things that push her, drive her. Therefore, this is the will to know. Will is dynamic. The will to know in an inconscient world. Matter seems inconscient. Consciousness comes out of the unconscious. Inconscient world of matter, there is the need to know. If that means knowledge is hidden in the inconscience. Otherwise one could not have the will to know. The will to live under a reign of death. There is in man the fundamental need for immortality. He is not immortal as yet, but he still dreams of immortality. Because that you cannot dream of something, as Mother has said, which does not exist. One cannot ask for something which is alien to you. If you dream of perfection, if you dream of immortality, that means the seed of that perfection is there inside you. The thirst for rapture in a heart of flesh, same. To move out of the world of suffering, to move out of the world of imperfection to a world of perfection, and that alone gives joy. Only there do we find joy. And work through the appearance of a soul, so body, life and mind slowly give way to the emergence of something which is the individualization of the consciousness. Now the soul is the divine conscious presence. The conscious presence is hidden, but slowly it is this that controls, that shapes, that guides, that makes us grow, makes us change. How does this consciousness come? By a miraculous birth in plasma and gas. Plasma and gas are the very fundamental, you might say, elements of the body. Physical body is basically gas. Water is gas. We are what now, Archana? 9/10 water, 9/10 gas. 3/4 water. And plasma is the substance of the blood. This is what we are in this kind of nature, the bodily nature. Where is the role of consciousness? But slowly this kind of being will, man, all living beings, have a sense of existence. I realize I am. In the beginning, this I is not the deepest inner soul, which is the presence of the eternal inside me. It is an individualization of my surface nature. It slowly, you might say, coalesces into what ultimately becomes the ego, the sense of a separate identity. In a world where there is no identity in water or gas or plasma, there is no sense of a separate identity. But we are made of that. And yet we are so attached to our sense of separate identity. We exist. Where is that awareness, that consciousness? Where does it come from? It is she. She is therefore the wisecraft. She is the wizard. She is the magician. She is molding, shaping something that seems to have no shape, giving it a shape, giving it a stamp of consciousness, gradually developing this consciousness from the lesser to the greater. This is a miraculous birth in plasm and gas. What is it leading to? The mystery of God's covenant with the night, developing the individual towards something that slowly arises out of darkness towards perfection. This is a deal, it is a treaty, as if the divine has given her a task. She has to work it out. A covenant is a deal, but it is a sacred thing. As if she makes us expressions of the divine ultimately, then the divine purpose of manifestation will be fulfilled. But for a long time we don't see the divine, we don't know the divine is an unknown presence. It's a mystery, but it is a covenant. It is as if a kind of a charge he has given to the night, to darkness. The darkness has to slowly be the womb of light. Out of darkness, out of unconsciousness, a greater manifestation has to be shaped. This human nature, who lives mostly in the night, mostly in ignorance, has to gradually break out of that ignorance and manifest its ultimate destiny, the destiny of being a divine manifestation. Not just the destiny of the soul, the destiny of the body, the destiny of the spirit, the destiny of the mind, the destiny of life. Everything is an expression of the possible manifestation of the divine. Matter is divine. Life is divine. Mind is divine. Originally, the principle is divine. Outwardly, the principles are as yet incomplete. When a manifestation is not yet complete, we can't draw a quick conclusion and say, this is the final thing, this is perfect, man is like this. Man is like this today. He is incomplete, he is imperfect, he has capacities and dreams. He has to live out those dreams, express the possibilities dormant in him, and become an expression of what he was originally made for. Because we are sons of God and must be even as He. He is our origin. Today we don't look at ourselves as sons of God. We call ourselves mortals, as if sons of death, sons of time, sons of limitation. But even they are instruments of the divine. Time is a field of manifestation. Death is an outline we have to accept for a while. This is a limit beyond which at present you can't cross. Just like when we are slowly growing, you can do something up to a point. And then you have to push your limit, go further. Evolution does that. Evolution is not an expression of possibilities, but the possibility is actually a sign of a consciousness that is at work to shape, to perfect the human or the universal manifestation. Matter will be, as ultimately Sri Aurobindo says, a new world shall be born. Matter is world. It is not simply thought. It is not a person sitting under a tree and has realized the divine consciousness. It is in the cells of the body. That is the ultimate truth that Sri Aurobindo has come to give us. This is the yoga of Sri Aurobindo, where the spirit is freed from its separate identity. This yoga of the spirit's freedom. The spirit is not just something separate from the body. The spirit is in the body also. It's also in the darkness. It's also in inertia. It's also in all that seems to be contrary to the divine. This is the promise he gave to his laboring force. But she has to do the work. For her, the struggle is much longer. He has chosen this to be. He has willed this to be. But he has told her, now you go ahead and do it. And she is the worker. She is the divine worker. And the worker has to follow the commands of the person who has decided the work to be done. So he is the conscious ruler. She is the doer. She is the Shakti. She has to struggle, she has to suffer also, because she has to work in the darkness. She has to accept the conditions of imperfection. We saw how much Mother struggled outwardly. To us, it was suffering. To us, when the work of consciousness this was working on her cells, one could hear the screams of pain from downstairs. They're sitting in the ashram. There is naturally the enormous resistance of something that has not been challenged from the beginning of manifestation, and now it is being touched by light. It's like something that has never seen light, and then light comes and it's a scream of distress. What is this new thing happening? So the cells are disturbed, they are shaken, and yet nobody else will dare to do this except the original force. Only she could dare to take it up. That is why Mother, Sri Aurobindo told Mother, you will have to fulfill our supramental yoga of transformation. Because when she offered to leave before him, he said, no, your body is more enduring, and victory is to the most enduring. Whoever endures, whoever is willing to accept, to suffer, to struggle, that being will have to go through it. She is the strength, she is the force, she is the one who therefore accepted to fight the battle. This is the Eternal's promise. Once more was heard in the still cosmic mind. It is as if before anything is done, there is a plan that has to be done. In the divine plan, this was already there before you start, you have made a plan. Just like before you make a house, you make a plan of the house. The plan is already present in another level, mind, if you like, or beyond the mind, before you start from the first stage. Like that, a new world exists, not yet in the material plane, it exists on the subtle plane. So that cosmic mind sees this plan is now beginning to take shape. Always before you take shape, a house, you have to dig for a foundation. You have to go below. You have to work in the dark. There has to be a kind of breaking the ground to go under. Because below the lower levels, they have all the forces that have remained untouched. They have not participated in, the lowest forces have not participated in the evolutionary development of consciousness. From there, all powers will have to come out. The power of perfect form, of beauty, of balance, of strength in the world of matter. Because matter is not alien to the spirit. Matter is the foundation of the spirit. Man is also matter. Man is also spirit. His material form is the foundation of his spiritual destiny. So, this is the Eternal's promise to his laboring force. That she is working, but she has promised that she will succeed. A day will come when the new age, the new world, the new manifestation will take place, inducing the world passion to begin. Passion has both meanings, the intensity, the urge of something that is not just desire, but an intense need. Passion also accepts the possibility of struggle. suffering. There is the root in the French root, patir. Patir means to suffer. So the world will have to suffer, will have to break down all the resistances of the past. She will induce this, she will make it happen. So it's not a smooth journey moving from the lesser to the greater. It's not just like walking up a slope. As Sri Aurobindo has written in one of his letters about Savitri, he says, I have used Savitri as a means of ascension. Ascension, to climb. And at each step of the ascension, you reach a higher level, just like when you climb up a slope. You look around and the landscape is of one kind, the horizon is different. You climb a few more steps, you climb a little more, and there is a different landscape. You see further, you see wider, you see new possibilities you did not see before. Like today, we are living on the flat surface. We see only what is in front of our nose. We can't see anything else. Even that we don't notice always. As we go up, it's not physical, it is psychological, it is spiritual, it is our inner being. Our consciousness widens, it heightens, it recognizes realities that have always been there. We recognize them now. They are not appearing now, they were always there. There are beings, there are forces, there are all kinds of, you may call them gods, you may call them intermediary beings. They are helpers, but they are at work. That is the whole age, a new age, a cry of birth into mortality. A new emergence of consciousness into this world of lifeless, absolute matter. Matter, this is the insistence, matter is conscious. The stone is conscious. The body is conscious. It's more difficult. The mind does not have a body of its own. It can move faster. The body has a lot of resistance, material resistance. It moves, but with more difficulty. It's not so smooth. That is why there is a kind of, you might say, dichotomy in our nature. Our mind moves faster, our heart moves in a different direction, our body moves in a different rhythm, slowly. Difficulties take place. And that is often something that we are at war with ourselves. I want to do this, but I can't. I dream of achieving this, but my body will not. Yes, it will not now. It is not used to changing itself so easily. And that is why the opening verse of the tragedy of time, it's the opening verse. Tragedy is when the victory of the soul does not happen. What he describes in one of his aphorisms as a failure of the soul. In all of us, there is a soul which does not always, in most, it does not control and absolutely guide and take us forward. Because we have given our loyalty to imperfection. We've accepted that I can't do this is too difficult, I cannot do sadhana, I cannot change, my nature is not meant for all that. So because we have already accepted to fail, the soul which is there, which tries, after a while withdraws, says this being doesn't want to collaborate. And that is really so tragic. Possibilities are there in all. And the possibilities are refused by most to say, all this I can't do. And that is why the manifestation is always in time. Time means all experiences take birth in time, not in the formless ether of eternity. If I am down on earth, I am living in time. I am living in space. In this limited field of time and space, I have to make my journey. And I find I can't always make my journey. Out of the depths of the world's buried, out of the depths, the world's buried secret rose. He read, all this Ashwapati is realizing. This is the yoga of Sri Aurobindo. He read the original ukase, kept back in the locked archives of the spirit script, and saw the signature and fierce seal of wisdom on the dim power's hooded work. Who builds in ignorance the steps of light. Anybody knows ukase? No? It's a legal term actually. It's an old legal term. It is something that is there by right. It's a very ancient word. What is the buried? This is the realization of Ashwapati. He sees in the locked archives of the spirit's crypt. Deep within us there's a crypt. Crypt is a deep vault. The spirit is hidden within. We have pushed it back into a vault. But there it's always there. Archives are what? Archives is where you keep track of the past knowledge. All the knowledge of the past is really recorded and put in order. The spirit therefore never forgets. It has its connection with the origin. But the whole thing is kept. The spirit therefore is there in the world of matter. This is the original ukase. It is kept back. It is held back. And what is found, he sees the signature and fiery seal of the dim power's hooded work. For a long time, you have this dim power, the power of darkness, the power of error, the power of failure, the power of death. They seem to be in charge of all existence. Imperfection. This is part of wisdom. It is very wise actually. It's because these developments have to be progressive. If tomorrow we were given eternity and immortality, as we are today, in our nature as we are today, it would be terrifying. We wouldn't understand what to do with ourselves. We would be completely trapped. A small being with small limited capacities up to now, tomorrow you say you have everything. You can manifest the whole eternity. He'll be terrified. It has to be done step by step. So this is the wisdom. In the dark, what seems to be unconsciousness, what seems to be inertia, the possibilities of all consciousness lie dormant. They have to be brought out into the open progressively. This is the wisdom. Darkness also has the wisdom to control us. We can't, just as we are today, we need to sleep. You can't stay without sleeping for long. It's dangerous. To be able to stay without sleeping is possible only when the need to fall back into that inertia is no longer there. And otherwise, the body is asking for going back into not just rest, but going back into some inertia, into a state of absolute stillness where the consciousness seems to have withdrawn. This is wise, because the manifestation of that consciousness has not really started to express itself fully. But slowly, he builds the steps of light out of darkness, one step at a time. Evolution is that. Each stage of the evolution is one step of light. It's a small step. It's a small manifestation of light. Change. Change is the beginning of final transformation. The ultimate transformation has to be preceded by small changes. Step by step, we take up all the elements that resist and then move towards a little more light, a little more perfection. So this is what he sees, that this power of the ultimate manifestation of consciousness in the world of matter is at the foundation of everything. He is the power that is there, the wisdom who seems to be sleeping, but who is the foundation of everything. Just like in our tradition, you have the image of the sleeping Lord, at the basis of manifestation, the divine who's sleeping. He's sustaining everything, even creation. Brahma is born out of the lotus that emerges from the navel of the Lord, who is unmoving. And from there is the beginning and projection of all forces of manifestation, the original Om. So slowly she sees the sleeping deity opened deathless eyes. He saw the unshaped thought in soulless forms. In the beginning, in the world of apparent form, he sees the beginning of light. The first signs of light is thought. Thought comes after the world of life. He sees the beginning of a little light in the world of matter. It is actually the first spark of truth. Light, mind is a spark of truth. It may be a small diminished spark, but it is still a spark. He saw the unshaped thought in what seems to be without a soul, what seems undivine. It has always been considered undivine. Matter has always been rejected. You reject all material property, you reject all material attachments, then you are closer to the divine. That is not true. Matter is, you're not attached to the surface of material forms. You see the essence and the power hidden in all matter. All matter. Mother speaks so clearly about these things. Everything is a spirit. Even what is supposed to be a hindrance in the life of the yogi is, for instance, his dealing with money. Money is power, is form, is matter, but money is actually divine force. It's a force that is at work. It depends what you do with that force. Does it take hold of you, or do you take hold of it and use it for your own satisfaction? If you use it for your own satisfaction, you go off the track. If you allow it to make you its instrument, the divine makes you its instrument, then you can achieve anything. There is nothing that cannot be done. It's what you do with the world of matter. Allow the divine force to work through us. New matter pregnant with spiritual sense. In the body, you have connection with the world around us through the senses. Sight, sound, touch, smell, hearing, all these things. In the world of matter, you have the senses. Senses belong to the body. That means the body is conscious. Mind dare the study of the unknowable. Mind dares, this is the basis of not necessarily successful, but attempt to know that which is beyond the mind, philosophy. What does the philosopher do? Philosopher means one who wants to know the truth. That's the name. The truth is a little remote, but he dares to know the ultimate reality, the ultimate truth. What is finally the reality? Mind has the daring. It might be a little premature. Mind cannot dare to know anything. Ultimately, mind has to give up itself and become the truth. If my mind becomes the truth, then only can I know the truth. But for a long time, my mind has this huge ego and it thinks it can understand everything. But that's a daring, that's a challenge. But still, this is part of this development. And life, it's gestation of the golden child. The gestation is the period where the growth of the baby slowly develops inside the mother's womb. So there is a kind of preparation for a new birth. a new manifestation. Without life, there is no new birth. So, birth of light, birth of life, birth of consciousness, this is what this earthly existence is for. This he realized, not by understanding, as Sri Aurobindo says, the whole of the experiences comes to him. His mind is empty. His mind is like a vessel. He wrote Savitri without thinking. The mind was blank. It just poured down from above. So here is that line. In the light flooding thoughts, blank vacancy, interpreting the universe by soul science, to see everything as an expression of the spirit, not to see things on the outside. Science studies the outside of things, realizing that in the end, the outside is just a projection of a hidden energy. That energy which even those scientists who probe deeper question, where does this energy come from? Where does the energy that sustains the world of matter come from? Where else can it come from except the source of all energy? The divine grace, the divine love. It is this that sustains all things. So you interpret all things as expression of that spirit, of that soul. He read from within the text of the without. This is knowledge. You know something not from outside, but by becoming that. That's the only way to know. You enter into the experience, you become the truth, then only do you know the truth. You become the divine, then only can you talk about the divine. You have to know, you have to live that thing. Whatever we are talking about, we have to live these things. We can't just read, we can't only talk about them. Anything, read from within, as Mother has told us so many times, read from within. Identify yourself from inside, as far as possible. Whatever you can do at this point. This is all I can experience just now. Tomorrow I'll try to experience a little further. But to be able to take into my being, not read a text that is always there inside in a book or in a text, but contained in my nature, and it does its own work in my nature. And that is perhaps why the rishis always asked their students to learn by heart, to take in the text, the verses, the shlokas, so that they would do their own work within the consciousness of the being, not have the text written outside as now they are printed in books. They remain outside. But to imbibe them, to absorb them, in the end to become them. As he realized this, the opposition between matter and spirit was gone. The riddle grew plain and lost its catch obscure. The catch obscure is the opposition that comes. Matter is not spirit, spirit is not matter. The opposition is no longer there. A larger luster lit the mighty page. A purpose mingled with the whims of time. Then you say, why? Otherwise you say, why is the divine created a world of limited mortality if it is meant to be destroyed anyhow? There is no opposition between mortality and immortality. A mortal is we might say, an intermediary traveler towards immortality. It's just that. We're moving towards that ultimate goal. And fate revealed a chain of seeing will. Fate is not something arbitrary, suddenly decided. It is the consequence of a conscious force. Something that is already predetermined. It's like saying the end precedes the beginning. The fate is the end. The end is decided by the journey that you make. Our end is already decided before we start walking on the road. It depends on the road. It depends how we walk on the road, with what consciousness, with what sincerity, with what attitude we live. A conscious wideness filled the old dumb space. There is no unconsciousness. That's only the surface covering. what was called dumb space, the field of manifestation, is the play of consciousness. In the void, in the supreme unconsciousness, in this void, he saw throned the omniscient supreme, all-knowing absolute power of the divine. All omniscient is all-knowing.